The workers started work in 1913. This was the original church. It was basically made out of wood with a brick bottom. It was rather small, insufficient for the needs of the community and the needs of the church. This led them to look around to try to find resources or money to build a church. The workers couldn't find the resources of money and the necessities to build a church, so they got the idea, we'll take the sandstones from down at distant factory and we'll use those to build the church. They carried them up from the factory day by day, putting large numbers of sandstones across the street here. And then they started to break them up and build the church. But in between time, they were using this small section as their place of worship. The distant saw factory considered these stones industrial waste. They once grinded saws very efficiently and were brought in from Marietta, Ohio. But the church here needed a new building, and the workers did not have sufficient funds to do it. So what they took was distant industrial waste, and they carried it up here from the factory. And the members of the church actually built this building, brick by brick, stone by stone. It became one of the landmarks of the community because it reflects on the history of Tacony from the distant saw company and the hard work and diligence of the community itself. The stones actually were in two patterns. One was a long stone that was the central feature of the grinding stone, and the other were shorter stones, which you can see here. They actually had a technique of building that was very unusual. The technique consisted of taking this industrial waste and making use of it by measuring out and getting maximum use of the sanding stone. This all happened in the period of 1912 to 1915. And Tacony itself has many areas in the community that have the sandstones. The church has long stood here and is still very active today, and it's an ideal example of what a community can do to preserve its history and preserve its past.
My first contact with the Tacony Baptist Church was on the second Sunday of March, 1980. I was invited to speak for one Sunday morning service. I've been here ever since. God has blessed us, but during that time, we've come a long, long way. The church was about to fall down. There were only around 10 people meeting for service. They didn't have a heater that was operative, and they were having a very hard time. But down through the years, God has blessed us. He's renovated, He's air conditioned, and He's made the church what it is today. The Business Association of Tacony had their monthly meetings here. The Town Watch in Tacony had their monthly meetings here. We have a Boy Scout troop here in this church, and they're doing fine. The Lord has blessed and is yet blessing. We're thankful, but a lot has been done to remodel and recondition the church.
Rev, you've really put a lot of time and effort into this church over the years. You've made it a very friendly place for Tacony.
Dr. Silcox, I give the credit to God, because when I came in 1980, I did not know what I was getting into. This was my first ministry, and the Lord has opened door after door after door to improve this church. He wants this church here.
Do the people of the church know much about its history? Do they know about the sandstones and the whole story of your church?
We have a brochure that we have compiled, giving the history of the sandstones, giving the history of the Civil War bell that is here, and also of the founding fathers who have dedicated themselves to making this church what it is.
We're